What's up, everybody? Quick little preseason NFL primer on some guys that I'm picking up in advance of the NFL season. Just thinking that they're going to get a big start off to the year. And so I'm just going to kind of go through some of their cards and what I'm thinking, just to kind of let you guys in on, just my thoughts. Number 5, I've got kind of top 5 guys that I'm looking at investing in advance of the season. Number 5 is actually the first one that I don't have any cards of. I've kind of looked at some. I still think he's a good value. So he is the wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, Brandon Nyuk. Last year, he was a 2020 rookie, COVID era, no OTAs to get used to the scheme and everything else, get used to the NFL. So sharp learning curve to start off his NFL tenure. Despite that, he was a top 36 fantasy football wide receiver as a rookie. He only played in 12 games. He had 96 targets in those 12 games, over 700 yards, 5 receptions, 77 rushing yards, mind you, still wide receiver here, and 2 rushing touchdowns to go along with those 5 receiving touchdowns for a total of 7 touchdowns. Now, that is all done as a rookie. You even had Jerry Rice out there thinking, I really hope that this guy can break my rookie record. He didn't, partially because he only played 12 games. And but that's kind of the pace that he was on and what people were kind of starting to talk about and think about with him. Now, he does have Deebo Samuel on the other side. I think that's great for him. Deebo Samuel, A, helps them not be able to focus on Nyuk, and B, I don't think he's going to take a lot away. In fact, Deebo Samuel has had a long history of being injured, so who knows, his longevity and if he's going to miss some games. Brandon Nyuk certainly shined with Deebo out of the lineup. I think him in the lineup is great for him because they can't double team Nyuk, and him out of the lineup, he's just going to get hyper targeted. So I think Ayuk's a great value. Wide receivers aren't super expensive, so if you wanted to pick up some autos or some colored prisms, I think that would be a good idea. And I may be looking at some right before the season starts as well. On top of all of that, the 49ers start the year against Detroit and Philadelphia. 2 bad defenses that I think they're going to really be able to go after. And so I like the 49ers to start off the year. I like Brandon Nyuk to start off the year hot. Number 4, I have a ton of these guys, or a ton of this guy's cards just because I collect them a lot. I actually don't have any slabs. I have some that are coming back to me probably mid-September. Should be slabbed up. Some from PSA, some from HGA. So last year, this guy disappointed. He was a not top overall, but he was a first round pick running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, he is an LSU alumni. I went to LSU, so I have a soft spot in my heart for him. I kind of have like a secret PC for him, but I think he's a good investment as well. Last year, like I said, he disappointed, and all he did was put up over 1,100 yards, 4 touchdowns on 55 targets. Now, he was a 21-year-old rookie as he did that. Andy Reid, his coach in Kansas City, had another running back who was 21 years old as a rookie, had over 1,100 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, and 55 targets on the nose, the exact same numbers. His name, LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy became the fantasy football running back number 2 the subsequent year, getting 7 touchdowns on 90 targets. Also, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, younger than Najee Harris, this year's rookie for the Steelers. Now, like I said, he disappointed, but really he was on track to be great. The only problem was he had, kind of a disproportionately low amount of touchdowns, and then he got injured towards the mid-late of the year. Andy Reid's going to use him a lot. He's going to be more involved in the offense. He's going to catch more balls this year. And if there's some positive regression in the touchdown department, he's really going to succeed. The Chiefs are one of the best teams in the league. they're going to vie again for a Super Bowl. So I think it'd be a good idea to pick up some of his cards. I've got tons of them. You know, these are my Clyde cards, and like I said, I have a bunch of grading too. So some orange numbered, disco, little no huddle, base, prism black, some select. You know, just to kind of give you an idea of what I have. And you know, I'm cool with sitting on these, you know, in perpetuity, but I also think they're a good investment as well. Next up, number 3. So Tua Tungavaloa. So everybody remembers last year or the year before that, the tank for Tua. Everybody thought Tua was going to be the number 1 overall pick. He was not. Ended up being Joe Burrow, obviously. But before Joe Burrow, everybody thought Tua was a no doubt, you know, no-brainer. He was going to be the number 1 pick. Everybody wanted to go get him. In fact, the Dolphins were trying to tank for Tua. They ended up winning too many games. The Bengals ended up edging them out in that number 1 overall pick spot, but they picked, obviously, Joe Burrow, and the Dolphins ended up getting Tua anyway, despite not tanking for Tua. So this year, so last year he had not a great year, but they kept pulling him out and putting him back in. Again, COVID year, so he really didn't get involved in the offense as much, and the Dolphins were better than I think they originally expected, so they kept putting in Fitzpatrick because he had more of a, you know, veteran presence and could really help that team finish off some games. And so they kind of pulled Tua out towards the end of the game to really have that veteran presence, so that, you know, Tua didn't make any rookie mistakes, because at the end of the day, hey, he was a rookie. But, you know, he's coming off of an injury, bad injury, before the year, and had a shortened offseason to get ready for 2020. This year he looks good. He's spinning it well, and they just jacked up all of his weapons. He didn't really have a lot of weapons last year, even though Fitzpatrick did pretty well with those weapons, or lack thereof weapons. But this year, you know, they're going to have a good defense again, and now they've added Will Fuller, and they've added Waddle from Alabama, his old teammate he's played with before. And so I'm stacking up on Tua. Plus, Tua, super cheap compared to the other quarterbacks of last year's class. The only real, you know, top starting quarterback that is cheaper than him is Jalen Hurts in Philly. And so I think Tua is a better buy than Jalen, but I think they're both actually candidly good buys. I like Tua a little bit better. I think he's got more of an upside, so I'm definitely going after some him. Here's some raw that I have, a little orange laser base, turbocharge, and then, oh yeah, I definitely have some slabs as well, a 9.5 HGA orange laser, a little base action, and a negative refractor base, or not base, negative variation there on Tua. So yeah, definitely big on Tua. Number 2. This one's kind of painful, and I really didn't start doing it till very recently. Last week, in fact, was the first time that I kind of actually looked at him and said, he's a really good buy, and that's Sam Darnold. Now, he's been getting some offseason hype because switching teams from the Jets, getting out of New York, and getting away from the Jets has always been pretty good for a lot of people, especially getting away from Adam Gase in particular, although he's no longer with the Jets, but just getting a fresh start in a different town, different team, different coaching staff, and everything else. So no more Adam Gase, and he's got Joe Brady calling the plays for him down in Carolina. He's got a lot of weapons around him, including his old teammate Robbie Anderson to go along with DJ Moore. He's got the rookie Terrace Marshall. Just definitely a lot of players to go around him and help supplement him. Don't forget about Christian McCaffrey, who's, you know, quarterback's best friend out of the backfield, chipping on some blocks and then open for some dump off passes and let Christian McCaffrey work. He's the best in the business at it, so he's going to be right there by Sam Darnold, helping him out with some of those, you know, blitz, dump offs and everything else. So I did pick up this one. I actually just recently picked up this one. I'm trying to get a few more. Tried to get some raw cards that I might try to grade quickly. Those haven't come through yet, but was able to get this 10 SGC, and, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of SGC. I actually like the black border, but for whatever reason, I think it's the font and everything. It's not super big on them, although I think I'm about to grade some other cards with them. It'll be my first time ever grading with them. I've had them in the past, SGC slabs. This is my only one that I have in my collection right now, but I'm not opposed to them, and I think the market overall likes them kind of in that third spot. PSA Beckett, SGC has its place. I think HGA is growing, but I think right now SGC is kind of nestled in, trying to hold on to that third spot. They're doing good on turnaround time, so you're going to see a lot of SGC slabs coming out and being sold, or you're already seeing that, and you're going to continue to see that. Also with Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers, they start the year, listen to this, so New York Jets, so his old team, that should be an incredibly good game. So they start the year Jets, Saints, Houston, Dallas. So Jets, terrible defense. New Orleans, they have a really good defense, but their secondary is lacking. They have Lattimore. They're not really sure who is going to go on the other side of the field from Lattimore. So we'll see what happens there. And then safeties, just not incredibly great all-around defense. I think it's an above average defense, but I think they're susceptible on certain levels. And then obviously with CMC in the backfield, they'll have that little release valve as well. And we're not sure what New Orleans offense is going to be like. It's going to be the first year without Drew Brees in forever. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. And then follow that up with Houston, which is in shambles right now, and their defense is not going to be great. Dallas, which has a historically bad defense, is still going to be bad and definitely susceptible to running up the scores, running up some stats. That's where my man comes into play. I think he's good. He's talented. He was a number 1 overall prospect when he came out of USC. And I'm not the biggest USC fan either. So not the biggest USC fan, not the biggest Jets fan, not the biggest Carolina Panthers fan, but using this more as an investment because I just see the value there. He's going to be better than a lot of people thought he was last year. And so I'm looking forward to making a little bit of money, just kind of flipping some Darnolds. I think, about 4 weeks into the season, you're going to really see his market go up. Last but not least, this is my favorite, Kyler Murray. So, I picked up a couple of Kyler Murrays. I picked this one up in the spring at a local card show. I believe I put that on a video a while back. And so you saw when I picked that one up, PSA 9 action. Then I recently picked this one up as well, a 9.5 HGA. And this is the red parallel short printed. I think it's just a little bit above the yellow Dollar Tree, although I'm not exactly sure if the Dollar Tree is technically shorter printed or this one shorter printed, but this one has the color match to the jersey. Love the label match. Just a really cool, that press proof 9.5 grade, and pretty big on 9.5 HGA slabs. And so both the Donruss rated rookies. I'd like to get some other Kylers, but just had some money tied up in some grading stuff and didn't want to go in too big on any too high of cards. And I'm cool holding these cards even longer term if I need to. I think he's, long-term hold. I think Murray is a good long-term hold. That's what I was trying to say. So last year in 2020, he really leveled up his game. He had a career high in completions, 375 completions. He had a career high in yards at over 4,000, or I think it was almost 4,000. 26 total touchdowns, or 26 touchdowns, and a completion percentage of 67.2%, to go along with 819 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns on the ground. He was on pace before he got injured, so he did get injured last year, but on pace to be the first player ever to throw for 5,000 yards and rush for 1,000 yards. He's probably one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the league. You know, he's a little bit less of a rusher than Lamar Jackson, although I think that could be debated, but he's a better thrower than Lamar Jackson. So he's that definition of the dual threat quarterback, and he starts off the year. Tennessee, good defense. No getting around that one, but they're a good offense. So Tennessee, Minnesota, and Jacksonville. So Minnesota, bad defense. They're going to be bad again this year. Jacksonville, and Minnesota is going to be better, a little bit better, but they're still not going to be a top-tier defense. They did add Patrick Peterson from the Cardinals, so they beefed up that secondary a little bit. They're still going to be susceptible in the back end, so definitely torchable in Minnesota. And then Jacksonville, of course, still going to be susceptible to being exploited there in Jacksonville, as they have for a couple of years now. You know, they've definitely beefed up his weapons. He's got D-Hop for another year, and he's got AJ Green now, and then the rookie as well. He's got tons of talent around him. I'm really high on Kyler Murray. So those are my, proposed guys that I'm looking at as far as good buys here as we start the third week of the preseason. I'm looking at Brandon Nyuk, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tua, Sam Darnold, and Kyler Murray. If you want a couple others that I would also be looking at, it would be Trey Lance is somebody that I would like to get in as well. He just doesn't have a ton of cards out yet. So he's the rookie quarterback for San Francisco. He's not going to get the start. If you can get him for a cheap price before, as his pro unis come out and things like that, if you can get him for a cheaper price, which I doubt you're going to be able to get him for too cheap, then I would definitely do it if you could do that before he gets the starting gig over Jimmy G in San Francisco. I like him for all the same reasons I like Brandon Ayuk. 49ers are a good team. They're going to have a good defense. They've got a lot of targets, or a lot of weapons out there, and just a great team. And I don't even like the 49ers, but they're going to be good this year. So if you can get your hands on some, under market, under comps Trey Lances, especially when those start coming out in different forms, I would definitely try to kind of get some good value on some Trey Lances. And then Dak Prescott's going to always be a good buy. He was one of my good buys from last year, and that worked out until he got injured. So he's going to be on, out there proving himself again. Dallas Cowboys quarterback. If they do anything, he's going to explode in that market. So that's it, guys. Tell me what you think. Do you like those options? Do you like those picks of mine? Those guys that I'm focused in on? Who are you focusing on in the preseason to go out and get before the season starts? And let me know in the comments below. Make sure to smash that like button. That helps out the channel a ton. And hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.